Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a contact sheet using Lightroom. Before we get there though, I have to show you a few things as far as the Lightroom interface is concerned. The first thing is that I'm in the library view, and to see the grid, this is the grid. It's kind of like a light table. You always press the key letter G, and this will allow you to see as I say, thumbnails of what is in your catalog. In this case, I have 108 photographs in the catalog. These photographs are all the downloadable files from the Photoshop CS6 book, the textbook. I can make the thumbnails a little bit larger by using this slider right here. Make it big, make it small. And to create the contact sheet, we're going to need to use the print module, which is right up here. And I'm not going to dwell on anything here in the library. I'll go through some of these other menu items in a minute. But when you're going to be printing, you need to highlight the images in the grid prior to making the prints themselves. I press the Shift key, and by clicking on these images I can make multiple selections. So at this point in time, I have, let's see here, there's 7, 14, 21, 28 images selected. I'm going to deselect this, so go back and deselect this one. And I want to change the thumbnail view here so that I get 5 across. Just makes it a little bit easier. So here's 5 across. So I want to make a contact sheet of 20 images. So I'll pick the first one. There's 5, there's 10, there's 15, there's 20 that I've highlighted. If I come over here to the print module, the first thing on the menus here is the layout style, and we have 3 choices: single image or contact sheet, picture package, which I'll get to later, custom package later as well. So to do the contact sheet, we're going to need the first one. So I'll twirl that one up. Image settings, I'll explain that in a little while. I'll create rotate to fit, zoom to fill, and leave that. You can see the zoom to fill. The aspect ratio of this image is actually narrower. If I click zoom to fill it, it will fill the area which has been set up as the area that will accept any visual information. I'm going to turn zoom to fill off. Rotate to fit I'll keep on right now, and I'll twirl this one up. Go to the layout. This is probably the most important aspect of creating contact sheets. Now, if you recall, if you look down here in the film strip, I've got 20 images selected. There are more than that in the library, but there's 20 that I've selected. And as I increase the page grid, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows and 4 columns. So now you can see there's 20 images right here in the contact sheet. The horizontals have been rotated to fit into the aspect ratio of the way these cells are set up. So I'll come back to the image settings and turn off rotate to fit. Now it will realign the horizontals so that they will all appear horizontal. Another aspect to this is that the images really butt up one against one another, so I use the cell spacing, vertical spacing, to give it a little more room, and horizontal to give it a little more room. And now I have a contact sheet that has 20 images in it. And that's in the layout that you do this. So margins here have to do with these margins. These are unprintable boundaries, so nothing will print outside. The other thing you should notice is that this is designed to be printed on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and you can tell by the rulers. The rulers up here are 0 to 8.5 and 0 to 11. So this is a preview of what an 8.5 by 11 sheet would look like if the contact sheet were printed like this. Now I can choose to, I'll twirl these up again because it gets a little cluttered. If I go to page, print job, this is where I choose how I want this to output or where I want it to go. So in this case it's set to a JPEG file. I could send it to a printer if the printer was hooked up to the computer. But for the time being, I just want to output this as a JPEG file. I'm going to choose the resolution at 300 pixels per inch. Ignore the rest of this for the time being. And as I change from printer, you can see here this dialog changes down here. This button goes from print to file. And so as I print to file, I'm going to choose my desktop. I'm going to say contact sheet sample and save it. And now the progress bar up here is going to show me that it's actually creating this contact sheet. And if I go to my Finder, you can see here contact sheet sample, and there is my sample contact sheet, and it's showing me this as the preview of the JPEG file. Okay, coming back to the contact sheet itself, there's some other things we can do here to affect the layout of the page. I've shown you in the layout how we can set the grid. The other thing I want to do is I want to create a margin at the top, because that's where I want to put my name to identify myself on the contact sheet. So I'm going to slide the top one up, and you can see that it's pushing the images down and giving me some space up here. If I slide down a bit further, this is the page menu right here. I'll twirl up the layout so you can see this better. And in here we have the identity plate, and if I turn on the identity plate, this may show up in the middle of your image. You can click and drag this around whenever you see the hand, and this is based on main identity plate. In this case would be a identity plate that I've set up before. I'll talk with you more about identity plates, but let's edit this one. And the identity plate editor uses styled text identity plate. In this case, I'm going to highlight my name. I want to change the color to a black. Click OK, and now it's a black color. If I click on any of these handles, I can make it bigger or smaller. The main thing is you need to create a margin, because you can't print outside the non-printable areas. Okay, so here is my name added using the identity plate over here. I don't really want to do any watermarking. What I will want to do, however, is to add information about each photo. So if I click on this checkbox right here, and here is a drop-down menu that can choose where I can choose what I want to do. In this case, I'm just going to choose file name. This font size here refers to the size of the font right there. I'm going to go back and leave it at 10. So here, this text right here is the file name. So once you have done your file naming, this will be a good way to set it up for the contact sheet. Okay, once again, I'll twirl this back up, and here under the print job, again, I'm going to check that it's a JPEG file. I'm going to 300 pixels per inch. Not going to worry about the rest of this. Print to file, and again, I've got contact sheet sample, so I'm going to choose another name. Sample 2. There we go, and it's going to go into this folder on the desktop. Click save, and the progress bar will show us the progress that's happening here. I'll go back out to my Finder, and here's my sample 2, and you can see that I have my name on the sheet and all the names of the files. So that'll get you started as far as creating contact sheets.